Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, stating that whoever understands it earns it. Whoever does not must pay for it. Indeed, he was correct. Our focus today is on the number one threat to your financial well-being and the miracle of compound interest. Welcome to Finance Dojo. We aim to be the best personal finance educational channel you'll ever need. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell right now so you won't miss out. Debt is the number one killer of wealth. It is true, and we will examine the reasons for this. The short version is that having too much debt restricts your ability to make money, which is your most effective asset for developing wealth. Because of the power of compound interest, you could be thinking that it would be a poor decision to pay off your debt rather than invest at this point. The typical example looks like this. Jane makes $100 monthly investments between the ages of 18 and 25. She invests and often makes a 10% annual return. She will have a little more than $15,000 in her savings when she finishes investing at age 25. Those investments will keep increasing over the following 45 years. If it keeps growing at an average annualized rate of 10% each year, she will have $1.1 million in her portfolio when she is 70. All of that was accomplished with an 8-year investment of $100 each month. Putting $9,600 of her own money into an investment makes Jane a millionaire. But then there's John. John doesn't begin investing until he is 18. Instead, he begins when he is 26 years old. Additionally, he makes a monthly investment of $100. He does it from the age of 26 till the age of 70, unlike Jane though. Over those years, John invests $54,000 of his own money and he ends up with a nest egg that is just shy of $950,000. John therefore receives around $150,000 less than Jane. Even though he invested 6 times as much of his own money as she did, this is the case. Even if you continued with this example, John will never catch up to Jane. Jane would still have more money than John even if he continued to work and make investments of $100 per month until he was 100 years old. She would have a bigger lead than she had when they were 70. Jane would be worth $19.2 million at the age of 100. It would be $16.7 million for John. Albert Einstein referred to compound interest as the eighth wonder of the world for these reasons. Comparing someone whose salary goes to debt payments to someone debt-free isn't fair. One can invest a little and the other can invest a lot. Let's revisit the previous example. Jane invests $100 a month at the age of 18 for 7 years. At the age of 70, she has a net worth of around $1.1 million. Let's say John doesn't invest for the first 8 years because he's paying off debt. If by paying off that debt, he could free up an extra $200 a year or less than $17 a month to invest, he'd be ahead of Jane by the time they're both 70. If he freed up more, he'd pass Jane even sooner. According to Business Insider, CNBC, and Forbes, the average American debt is around $9,000 in credit card debt, which is frequently spread across many cards. $30,000 in student loan debt. Assuming a $21,000 used car loan, the overall debt is around $60,000. If credit card interest is 18%, other debts are 4.5%, and current student loan periods are 5 and 10 years. Minimum payments might be $900 a month. This much cash flow might change the previous example. Let's go back to John's example and imagine that his family's debt situation was similar to the typical American home. John uses his $100 monthly extra cash flow to pay off debts. Using calculations, he'd be debt-free in 6 years. Assuming he didn't work additional hours or sold anything to pay off debt quicker, when he was debt-free, he would still have about $1,000 per month available for investments. If he starts getting debt-free at 18, when Jane began investing, he'll be debt-free by his 24th birthday. Keeping this in mind, compound interest is a very powerful and effective mathematical force. But it may work against you too. So it's crucial to make sure compound interest is your ally and not your enemy when it comes to your finances. So with that in mind, how do we avoid this killer of wealth? First, if you're fortunate enough to be debt-free right now, look into strategies to maintain it that way. If you want to go to college, check out ESA plans and 529 plans. These are strategies to save for college and reduce taxes. Additionally, look for PSEO or scholarship opportunities. Do not be scared for work part-time through the school year and have a summer job as long as it doesn't interfere too much with your school work. This might also be an excellent choice in high school to give yourself a financial head start. Make sure you have an emergency fund available at all times. It should cover 3 to 6 months of expenses so you don't have to go into debt. Make sure you have insurance for any catastrophes that your money won't be able to cover. If you already have debt, find out how others have paid it off. Choose the option most likely to keep you out of debt. 3 of the most common ways to deal with debt are the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, and the debt tsunami. The debt snowball is the one made well known by financial experts like Dave Ramsey. It tells you to put your debt in order from smallest balance to largest balance and pay them off in that order, no matter what their interest rates are. Getting your expenses paid off soon has the advantage of giving you more momentum. The drawback is that, with all other factors being equal, it isn't the most mathematically efficient way to get out of debt. The debt avalanche is the most mathematically efficient option if you can stick to it. It tells you to pay off your debt from the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate, no matter the loan size. The advantage is that you'll have lower interest charges. The drawback is that it can take you a while to pay off that first debt in some circumstances. For individuals more driven by debt reduction, this may not be a problem. This might be a concern for people motivated by lowering bills. The debt tsunami tells you to put your debts in order from most stressful to least stressful and pay them off in that order. In certain circumstances, this means paying off the highest balance with the lowest interest sum first. In my experience, that's rare. Most of the people I've seen use this strategy do so because personal loans between family or friends are making the relationship very stressful. First, the debtor uses the tsunami to pay off the loan, then they switch to the snowball or avalanche, which many people prefer. Nothing is stopping you from starting with one method and then switching to another for the long term. Many people start with a snowball to gain momentum, then move to the avalanche to save on interest. Also, consider the debt snowflake. If you haven't heard, the debt snowflake is a strategy where you identify ways to free up money for your debt reduction strategy. It has the advantage of combining effectively with any of the other 3 strategies I described. While hardly a game changer, it helps your main strategy. As always, this video is for educational purposes only and not financial advice. You should always do your own research and speak to a financial advisor before making any investment decisions. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.